Very good afternoon. You're watching Midday News on Rajya Sabha television, where we get you the top developing news stories at lunch hour. I'm Ashwara Kapoor, and here are the headlines. Industry shares the government's optimism on growth rate as the CHAM president says GDP will clock around 7.8% and infuse more jobs. Economic survey sees India poised to regain fastest growing economy tag with 7 to 7.5% growth in fiscal year 2019. Delhi High Court seeks factual aspects from Election Commission on its decision to disqualify 20 AAP MLAs for holding office of profit. Division bench of the High Court is hearing pleas by MLAs challenging the disqualification. Nation remembers Mahatma Gandhi on his 70th death anniversary. President, Vice President, Prime Minister lead the country in paying tributes to the father of the nation at Rajghat. The United States to resume admission of refugees from 11 high-risk countries, but with extra vetting. Refugees mostly from the Middle Eastern and African nations. And India demolish Pakistan in the semi-final of the Under-19 World Cup being played in New Zealand. Chasing a target of 273 runs, Pakistan bundled out for 69 runs. India will now play Australia in the final on Saturday. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley tabled the Economic Survey in Parliament on Monday on the first day of the budget session. The Economic Survey 2018 has estimated that the Indian economy will grow by 7 to 7.5% in 2018-19. It pointed out that there has been a 50% increase in the number of indirect taxpayers and that demonetization has helped the share of financial savings rise. The industry has also shared the optimism of the government on the growth rate figures. In fact, it has said that the growth rate will exceed government estimates.
6.5 से 6.75% तक का जो है जीडीपी ग्रोथ इस साल एस्टिमेटेड है और नेक्स्ट ईयर 7 to 7.5 एक अच्छा ग्रोथ है, स्पेशली देखते हुए कि चाइना का जो फॉरकास्ट है वो करीब 6.8% का है नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए. तो हम 7 to 7.5 का जो हम एक एस्टिमेट कर रहे हैं या जो फॉरकास्ट कर रहा है सर्वे, वो काफ़ी हेल्दी ग्रोथ है. तो 3 साल गया उसमें डिमांड थोड़ा स्लो था, उससे पहले यूपीए 2 में तो और भी स्लो था. तो अब जो है एक उम्मीद की किरण जो है इंडस्ट्री के लिए इस इकोनॉमिक सर्वे से सामने उभर के आई है.
The economic survey, as you would see, was presented in the parliament, was clearly saying that we are having strong reasons to believe that we are on a strong growth path. Another point which has very clearly come out is that the focus that we will need to give on areas like employment, areas like agriculture, these are very important, and we would like to see much more happening, of course, for the rural economy and the agricultural side. And one of the things which is seen, which is also talked about, is about the fixed term employment, which has already been, of course, notified. Now these are far-reaching reforms also in a big way.
And here are the details of economic survey that was tabled by the Finance Minister on Monday in both houses of Parliament. Take a look.
Sounding bullish on growth, Economic Survey 2018 emphasized India's strong economic fundamentals to state that it is poised to regain the tag of world's fastest growing economy. Elaborating on the points that were working for the Indian economy, the survey said that a series of major reforms undertaken over the past year will allow GDP growth to reach 6.7% this fiscal and will rise to 7 to 7.5% in 2018-19. It also underlined the role of the newly introduced goods and services tax, the new Indian bankruptcy court, the implementation of the recapitalization package to strengthen the public sector banks, liberalization of FDI and the export uplift from the global recovery as contributing to the economic growth.
There is a robust and broad-based revival. I mean, several indicators of activity. We've shown manufacturing growth, GVA growth, even investment, exports, net private transfers, credit. They've all started to pick up. I mean, the direction is very good. The level is still below potential. Should keep that in mind. But in terms of directionally, the economy seems to be picking up.
The goods and services tax implementation has increased indirect taxpayer base by more than 50%, with 34 lakh businesses coming into the tax net. As on December 2017, there were 9.8 million unique GST registrants, more than the total indirect tax registrants under the old system, where many taxpayers were registered under several taxes. The new regime of indirect taxes has also fetched 9.7 lakh crore rupees to the exchequer.
GST revenues are growing at about 12% and the buoyancy is well above historical. So for such the early experience of such a transformative change is already providing fairly buoyant revenues. So I think the promise going forward is very good.
देशों में जिसमें जीएसटी लागू हुआ उसमें कम से कम 2 साल लग जाते हैं इसको करने में. हमने बहुत जल्दी इसको पूरा स्टेबलाइज कर लिया और मेरा पूरा यकीन है कि इस साल में 2018-19 में आप देखेंगे कि जीएसटी की रेवेन्यू में काफी बड़ा इंक्रीज आएगा.
जीएसटी कलेक्शन अब बढ़ रहा है. जिस प्रकार से रिटर्न्स बढ़ रहे हैं उसी आधार पर जीएसटी का कलेक्शन भी बढ़ रहा है. जिस प्रकार से वो किया गया है हम लोग निश्चित रूप से उसको अचीव करेंगे.
Economic Survey 2018 also says demonetization to curb black money has given a boost to financial savings in aggregate household savings with a tilt towards market instruments. It led to 2.8 lakh crore rupees less cash and 3.8 lakh crore less high denomination notes in the Indian economy. The survey highlighted that while services sector is expected to grow at 8.3% in 2018, industrial growth will be at 4.4% and agriculture sector will grow at 2.1%. With strong macroeconomic indicators, the Economic Survey has set the tone for a bold and reform-oriented budget to be presented on February 1st. The multilateral agencies like the World Bank and IMF have already exuded confidence on India's economic potential. The Economic Survey has also pointed out that India can be rated as among the best performing economies in the world, with average growth rate in last 3 years hovering around 4 percentage points, which is higher than global growth rate and nearly 3 percentage points higher than emerging and developing economies. Reporting from Delhi, with camera person Vijay Singh, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And the chairman of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, Dr. Bibek Debroy, has said that the Economic Survey is a reflection of the government's commitment to growth and development. Highlighting the optimistic outlook of the economy reflected by the Economic Survey, he said that the emphasis on women's empowerment is a welcome step. Dr. Debroy also endorsed the pickup in the growth highlighted in the survey and was of the view that in 2018-19, the real GDP growth rate is likely to be closer to 7.5% rather than 7%. He also said that the impact of any increase in crude prices will be more than compensated by recovery in exports, private investments and even private consumption, unless real interest rates remain too high. The Economic Survey has recommended that the budget should be pragmatic and not aim for extreme fiscal targets. It has also signalled that there are pressures that have to be addressed, such as oil prices in a pre-election year.
Among the obstacles to growth, the Economic Survey finds raising investment more significant than raising saving. It also points out that direct tax collections by states are significantly lower than those by counterparts in other federal countries.
We see now that there is a robust and broad-based revival. I mean, several indicators of activity. We've shown manufacturing growth, GVA growth, even investment, exports, net private transfers, credit, they've all started to pick up. I mean, the direction is very good. The level is still below potential, should keep that in mind. But in terms of directionally, the economy seems to be picking up quite nicely, quite robustly, and that's what's happening now.
Another key concern, according to the Economic Survey, is the constant surge in the oil prices. In this regard, it says the first 3 quarters of 2017-18 oil prices have been 16% greater in dollar terms than in the previous year. In this regard, it calls for policy vigilance in the coming year if high oil prices persist or stock prices correct sharply.
If oil prices remain at current levels, I think
there will be challenges. We know a rule of thumb, every $10 increase in the price of oil, GDP growth comes down by about 0.2 to 0.3%. The current account deficit will deteriorate by about, again, 0.4 percentage points of GDP, $10 billion. Inflation will be higher also by about 0.2, 0.3%. So I think we need to watch oil prices very carefully.
The Economic Survey 2018 highlights agriculture, education and employment as the focus areas in the medium term. On agriculture, it says that raising farm productivity while strengthening agricultural resilience is a priority area. It pegs agriculture growth in financial year 2018 at 2.1%, while the industry growth for financial year 18 likely to be 4.4%.
I think that in some ways, my own view is that the government doesn't have to do anything new and radical, etc. Just, finishing what it has started already would be, I think, a very ambitious and a very fantastic agenda to complete. Supporting agriculture, because we know there are stresses in the agricultural sector, which are described in the economic survey. Stabilize the GST. I think that, stabilize GST because export refunds, compliance, revenue will still have to be, achieve an equilibrium.
On the employment front, the service says that finding good jobs for the young and the increasing workforce, especially for women, is a huge challenge. On education, it says the priority has to be to create an educated and healthy labour force.
One of the new things we say in this, which I don't think has been pointed out enough, is that we know that the sex ratio in India is highly skewed. If you go to Punjab, Haryana, you'll see it. But there is a different and maybe deeper phenomenon of son preference, which we call son meta preference. And you can get at that not by looking at the sex ratio at birth, but by looking at the sex ratio of the last child. Is the last child more male than female? And what you find is that in India, it's very striking. You look at the difference between the top two charts. That's the sex ratio. If it's the last child, skewed towards males. If it's not the last child, more females. So it's really quite striking. And that's not true of a country like Indonesia and many, many other countries.
According to the survey, policy recipes for the coming year will include a huge support to the agricultural sector, stabilizing GST, privatizing Air India, and creating an ecosystem for the new insolvency and bankruptcy process to resolve the bad loan problem in the banking sector.
The economic survey says that the government has given utmost priority to social infrastructure like education and health to ensure inclusive and sustainable growth. Even the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has contributed greatly in improvement of health indicators in rural India. However, child and maternal malnutrition continue to be the most challenging risk factors. Reporting from Delhi, with camera person Vijay Singh, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And in midday news, time for a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back after the break. News from the national capital, where the Delhi High Court has asked the Election Commission to file affidavit factual aspects of its decision to disqualify 20 AAP MLAs for holding office of profit. The division bench of the High Court is hearing pleas by AAP MLAs seeking quashing of their disqualification from the Delhi Assembly. A bench of Justices Sanjeev Khanna and Chandrasekhar asked the poll panel to file the affidavit after the Election Commission said that it wanted to respond to some of the allegations made in the MLA's pleas challenging their disqualification from the Delhi Assembly. The Commission also told the court that it would reply upon the opinion given to the President to disqualify the 20 AAP MLAs who were appointed as the parliamentary secretaries. After the brief proceedings, the court listed the matter for further hearing on 7th of February, by when the MLAs have to file the responses to the Election Commission affidavit. The court also extended it till then the 24th of January interim order of the single judge restraining the EC from issuing any notification announcing by-elections to fill the vacancies of the 20 assembly seats whose legislators have been disqualified. And Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has announced that his government will approach the Supreme Court for a temporary ban on the ongoing sealing drive. He said this after a meeting between Aam Aadmi Party and Delhi BJP called by him to discuss the controversial sealing drive. However, the meeting could not be materialized. The sealing drive is being carried out by municipal corporations since the last month against properties violating civic norms.
एलजी साहब चाहते या केंद्र सरकार चाहती तो एक भी दुकान दिल्ली के अंदर सीलिंग नहीं होती। पहले दिन ही वो ये डिमांड्स पूरी कर सकते थे। उनके लिए ये 24 घंटे का काम है इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना, लेकिन इतने सारे लोगों की रोजी रोटी चली गई, इतने सारे लोगों की दुकान सीलिंग हो गई, ये बड़े दुख की बात है। और अब दिल्ली सरकार अगले इसी हफ्ते सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाएगी सीलिंग पे टेम्पोररी रोक लगवाने के लिए। उसकी सारी तैयारी चल रही है। मुझे लगता है कल या परसों के अंदर केस हम लोग सुप्रीम कोर्ट में फाइल करेंगे।
A news from poll-bound Nagaland, where 11 political parties, including the ruling Naga People's Front, have decided not to contest the 27th of February assembly elections in the state till a peace deal has been hammered out. Now, the declaration came following a meeting in the capital, Kohima, of tribal civil society groups and civil societies who have been pressing upon the centre to find a solution to the peace process before the elections. The meeting was attended by representatives of 11 parties and 7 Naga nationalist political groups. The joint declaration signed by the parties said that Naga peace accord was more important than elections. The civil societies core committee has also given a call for a total bandh on 1st of February, the day on filing of nomination begins. Meanwhile, the state chief electoral officer Abhijit Sinha is to hold a crucial meeting with the state political parties at Kohima today to discuss the matter in view of the decision of the core committee. And in the centre's first reaction to the Nagaland development, Minister of State for Home Kiran Rijiju said on Twitter, and I quote him now, "We fully understand the sentiments expressed by the core committee of the Nagaland tribal and civil organizations, but election boycott is not a solution. Let's have faith in the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's commitment." He also added, holding of timely elections is a constitutional process. Government is bound by the Constitution. Government of India attaches utmost importance to the long pending Naga issue. We believe that peaceful election in Nagaland will facilitate the ongoing peace talks and strengthen our commitment. Unquote. And by-polls to 3 Lok Sabha and 2 assembly seats in Rajasthan and West Bengal concluded on Monday evening. And Ajmer and Alwar Lok Sabha seats registered a turnout of 65.2% and 61.86% respectively. While in the Mandalgarh assembly seat, the turnout was at 78.78%. The by-polls were necessitated in 3 seats due to the death of the sitting lawmakers there. And in West Bengal, 76.7% voting was recorded in the by-poll to the Uluberia Lok Sabha constituencies. And for the Neopara Assembly by-election, 75.3% polling was registered. Here also, the polls were necessitated due to the death of sitting lawmakers. Big story coming in from West Bengal, where rescue operations resumed this morning to find the bodies of passengers of the bus that had toppled over a bridge and plunged into a canal in West Bengal's Murshidabad district. At least 40 people have died in the accident. The rescue operations were discontinued after 9 hours on Monday due to low visibility. Deep divers of the National Disaster Response Force and the State Disaster Management personnel were conducting the operations. The district magistrate, senior police officials, including the SP, are on the spot. The police said that the accident occurred when the North Bengal State Transport Corporation bus was going from Shikarpur to Nadia district to Malda. Locals claim that around 60 people were in the bus. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has announced a compensation of 5 lakh rupees each to the family of those killed in the accident, and 1 lakh rupees would be given to those who've been seriously injured. And President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have also expressed sorrow over the accident. And the nation is paying homage to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 70th death anniversary today. An interreligious prayer was held at Gandhi Samadhi at Rajghat this morning. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with leaders from different political parties, paid rich tributes to Bapu. Congress President Rahul Gandhi and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh were also among those who paid tributes to the father of the nation at Rajghat. Prime Minister Modi and Vice President Naidu will also attend Sarv Dharma Prarthana Sabha in the evening at Gandhi Smriti. It was here at Gandhi Smriti on 30th of January 1948 that the father of the nation was shot dead while on his way for evening prayers. And President Ramnath Kovind tweeted this morning, "We gratefully remember Mahatma Gandhi and the countless freedom fighters who sacrificed their all for our independence." Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, also remembering Mahatma Gandhi, tweeted, "Mahatma Gandhi was a true apostle of peace and non-violence. His life and message must continue to inspire every Indian." Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on Twitter. Let's get you all the international news now. Here is the World Wrap. The United States has lifted the ban on refugees from 11 high-risk countries, mostly West Asian and African, and will resume allowing refugees from these nations. However, these refugees will have to go through additional security screenings before being allowed to enter the United States. According to officials, many of the changes are expected to be implemented by the end of March. Now to sports news now. India stormed into the final of the Under-19 Cricket World Cup this morning with a stunning 203-run win over arch rivals Pakistan at Christchurch in New Zealand. Electing to bat first after winning the toss, India made 272 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in the stipulated 50 overs. Shubham Gill scored 102 runs in 94 balls, while Prithvi Shaw made 41 and Manjot Kalra contributed 47 runs. Gill has been adjudged as the man of the match. In reply, Pakistan got off to a poor start. Rohil Nazir became the highest scorer for his side with just 18 runs. Paceman Ishan Purell bagged the maximum of 4 wickets, and India will now face Australia in the summit clash on Saturday.
Absolutely, better and better. Their quarter-final win was very impressive.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that sports has a very basic and prominent role for a healthy individual as well as for the nation. He said this while conferring the Badminton Association of India's Lifetime Achievement Award to legendary Prakash Padukone on Monday at a function in Delhi. At the event, Prakash Padukone stressed that only appropriate sports system can produce good players.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu revealed that he's a staunch lover of badminton, and it is sports which keeps him fit at this age. He termed Prakash Padukone as his badminton idol and said that habit of sports is necessary to create a healthy and wealthy nation.
भारतीय संस्कृति जिसको हम कहते हैं, पुरातन पद्धति हमारा पूर्वजों ने जिया और दिया, विरासत में हमको मिला। वो पद्धति ऐसा है, प्रतिभा पुरस्कार। जहाँ प्रतिभा है, वो प्रतिभा को पहचान के उसको पुरस्कार करना। Wherever there is some talent and merit, you have to identify it, you have to promote it, you have to respect it, and also you have to felicitate. Why this felicitation? what is it Prakash Padukoneji is going to get by this award or little reward, whatever we have given to him. It is the felicitation, is to give inspiration to others so that they also work hard and become something in life.
Legendary player and winner of many championships, Padma Shri Prakash Padukone said that help and support of government, Sports Ministry and Sports Authority of India is very crucial for building players for the country. He stressed that more talent needs to be tapped, especially in small towns and cities, by creating an appropriate system.
Apart from my talent and hard work, good wishes and encouragement from all my well-wishers have also played a major role in whatever success I have achieved over the years. I would also like to remember with gratitude the support given by the BAI and my state association, the Karnataka Badminton Association, at that time, in spite of having limited resources in those days.
1983 World Championship medalist Prakash Padukone was conferred with BAI Lifetime Achievement Award on Monday. The Mysuru-born Padukone had won gold medals at the 1978 Commonwealth Games and at the All England Championships in 1980. This is Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And before we wrap up, a sitting Lok Sabha BJP MP from Palghar in Maharashtra, Chintaman Avanga, passed away this morning. He suffered a heart attack. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has expressed a shock over his sudden demise. In his tweet, he expressed condolences to the late BJP MP's family and friends. And that's all in this edition of news. Thanks for watching.